Good morning to you. I just want to say good morning and thank you for yesterday, which is now my new all-time favorite day.
I mean, he told me he adopted me. You don't have to say this. He told me he was an example of Jesus in my life.
When I think of you, I think of the 13th chapter of 1 Corinthians. There, what do you think of that? I hope you have a wonderful day. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. See you. Bye.
And he was my therapist.
Amy Nordhues trusted her therapist. Everyone in her community loved him. But he was also very dangerous.
I didn't understand how I, a grown woman, could allow my therapist, a 65-year-old man, to manipulate me and groom me so that I would accept sexual acts from him.
They're psychopaths, they're sociopaths. They know what they're doing is wrong and they do it anyway.
I think one thing that many clients don't realize is that their therapists may be less healthy than they are.
The scope of this problem, I think if people really knew the truth about it, it would shock them.
He was an elder at my church who diagnosed his victims with multiple personality disorder so that he could essentially create little girl parts of us that he could later have sex with.
Bless you, cute kid. Bless all of you guys. I love you big. Have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful evening, and hope I see you on Sunday.
He was obsessed with their appearance. He always wanted them to be wearing a pretty pink dress. It wasn't even me he was interested in. It was actually Nicole, a sweet 13-year-old part of me.
For some reason, the field of therapy has remained relatively unscathed when it comes to the Me Too movement. And yet the harm and the scope of this abuse is more sinister than almost anything I've seen.
Linda, take one.
She groomed me for months, and she was fostering a dependence. My therapist in our first session encouraged me to think of her as the mother that I never had. And so she manipulated me into a relationship that I did not want. And it was into a sexual relationship with her. And it ended up with her moving me into her home. Yet I knew that she was bad for me, but at the same time, I felt like I had to have her.
Well, she knew that I lost my dad when I was 9 because he was murdered. It was the touching the hands on the leg, and being real gentle with me. And just looking back at it, I felt like she was a predator. I was in a predator's office.
My therapist would call me after hours, and it was comforting. The bond was so strong and toxic. It was like nurturing and slicing all at the same time. I was gonna take my life.
Being vulnerable with a therapist and then being groomed and used and discarded like trash, it's more than a sexual assault. It destroys who you are.
Back in the day, we would have language for that. We would say, when you knowingly do this, that's evil.
It started off like any other day with a good morning text from my therapist. And she mentioned that for our extended session that day, she had a special surprise. When I arrived, we embraced like normal, full body embrace, and then we curled up together on the couch. it progressed from there, and we moved onto the floor, and she undressed down to her underpants and encouraged me to do the same. After a few minutes of resting my head on her pelvis, I crawled up her belly and began suckling at her breasts. And she sang a lullaby and was kissing me tenderly all over my face. This experience we were going to share, she believed was God ordained. Part of me felt like I needed to get away from her, but I also was terrified of losing her. It was like an addiction that I couldn't escape.
And I think that's really my trauma. A lot of it happened after I left her to figure out, how am I going to live now? I didn't know that 30 years later, I'm still going to be dealing with it.
I didn't think I could survive it. I didn't know if I wanted to survive it. But I had a husband and 3 beautiful children, and so I had to keep going. Eventually, I reported the doctor to the medical board. I filed a civil malpractice lawsuit. I wrote a book, and I've met so many amazing survivors along the way, and they really keep me going. We're just desperate to know that we're not alone and that what happened to us wasn't our fault. It's just been a privilege that I can now offer that lifeline to others.
I was preyed on no differently than if a man would be preying on a woman.
She manipulated me.
She tricked me.
Seduced me.
She made me call her mommy.
And she was my therapist.
You know that. And you fucking know that. You know what I've been through.
It's a kind of soul murder.
And a blessed day. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow.